Saints All-Pro DN Cam Jordan is with us. Good morning, Cam.
Good morning.
This is one of the nicest guys in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Don't say that. Don't say that.
listen, you're a mean dude during the game, but you are. I've had you on a radio show a few times. I've had you on a television show. One of the smartest, most generous with his time, nicest people in the league this time of year. Maybe.
I don't know where you're at during my offseason. Could you come do this for me?
Oh, you just walk around,
Yeah,
introduce
like-
you like
Well,
that?
I was going to say, I've never, in all those the post-football games that we've covered and watched, I've never seen anyone that actually enjoys answering questions, being real with the reporters. You love it. You sit at your locker and you like legitimately seem to enjoy, whether you do or not, you enjoy the questions, you enjoy the time after the game.
It's a part of our life. At this point, you can't be a part of the NFL for 9 years. You can't be a part of college. You can't be a part of high school sports without having to field these questions. You can't be afraid to be who you are. You know, at the end of the day, I am me. I am the product of my father, and I am the product of what my family has built. So I sit here proud of where I came from.
Well, you mentioned. Go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
I know. I was just gonna jump right in. You're going into year 10. Woo! Woo! I mean, you've had.
Can I get a hot tub?
You've had a phenomenal run up to this point. Talk about just this season, last season, the last 3 seasons for you guys, and this window of opportunity that everyone feels like sometimes is so broad, but we know it as players. It just closes every single time, every year that we lose on that football field. Talk about that.
It probably hurts more and more. It's like being broken up with your girlfriend. Like your first girlfriend you had, you're devastated. And then, the second girlfriend you had, you're hurt. And the third one, you're just like, that's not the right one. That's not it. That's sort of what this last 3 years really feels like. It's like that first one, I was so hurt, I didn't even think about looking at football. It was just like, I have to, I hit this Pro Bowl, but I don't even want to talk about the game. Please don't bring up the game. I'm still bleeding from it. The second one was like, last year we were like, how do you lose the way we did? How does this happen? And you're sort of looking around, but it's like, we have the formula to bounce back. We know exactly what we have to do to be, one step closer. And then you talk about what happened this past year. And it's like, you're just sitting there, you're like, no, that makes sense. We know we're not going to get the calls that go our way. But at the same time, we also know that we can never let it get that close. So you're just sitting there like, you see the formula and you're like, we know exactly what we have to do. We can never make it a close game. You leave it a close game, then becomes, they've said it last year, they're trying not to say it this year. You can leave it at human error or whatever it is. We didn't do enough to come away with the win this past postseason.
Cam, that's the last 3 years for the team. And you're a consummate pro. You're the son of a pro. Like you, and as Jenna mentioned, you're great at diplomatic but also honest answers. But for you individually,
the Jordan men do have 11 Pro Bowls. Continue.
Yeah, 11 Pro Bowls. Since 2013, guys with 10 plus sacks and 20 plus quarterback hits in a season. Only 2 guys have done it at least 5 seasons. Von Miller and Cam Jordan. Aaron Donald hadn't done it. J.J. Watt hadn't done it. You have over 30 sacks in the last 3 years. You had almost 16 this year. And I don't think you regularly in the media get brought up as one of the league's dominant pass rushers. Now, you all pro, I think smart people know it. Do you feel like you're underrated, and do you care?
I feel like I'm the best all-around, defensive end in the game. I'm not sure where this term edge rusher came from, but it includes a lot of skinny guys. Good for us. But when you talk about every down, first, second, third, and if it has to be fourth, I'm prepared to go to war every time. So I sort of emulate my game off of, the legends. You talk about Chris Dolman, you talk about John Randall, guys I grew up watching. So I've always looked beyond just what's on the table now. There's not too many defensive ends that's coming off the edge at 285 anymore.
Well, so you said something really important there, which is edge rusher, which is now, it's an all-pro designation. And it's the hybrid, right? It's some 3-4 outside backers, it's some specialists. And for you, you've got to do all of it. You can't take the play off. How much pride do you take in that fact that while we don't really talk about defensive rushing stats, you are, if you look at the advanced numbers, one of the best run stuffers in the league, and you're averaging a sack a game over the last couple of years?
Yeah. When it comes down to it, honestly, you know, in high school you play offense and defense and special teams. You know, you don't even think about it. In college, they try and make you, you know, a specialist or mold or conform to whatever their idea of your role is going to be. And in the league, they similarly try to do the same thing. I come in my rookie year and it's like, hey, we just want you first and second down, and you look at them like, no, but I'm like, I can do it all. And you have to earn that right. So you know, second year in, I go for an 8-sack season, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, he can pass rush. Well, duh. Like, I'm here for first, second, and third down. There's nothing in me that says, you know, I want to be available for every down, and I want to be put in the best position to use for my use, not only to better myself, but to put my team in a better position. So what way to do that than be there for every down? And all of those snaps are mine. Ask my coach. All those snaps are mine.
Cam, when you look at the last 3 seasons, as you've mentioned, they've all ended far more disappointing than you would have wanted to. But for the most part, minus a player or two, Mark Ingram here or there, you guys have rolled it back for the last couple of seasons, knowing that this is your time with your coach and the quarterback that you have. And so you can't help but think, when you think of the Saints, as Drew Brees and Drew Brees' team, do you think we see Drew Brees back here next year?
I think we have a window of opportunity.
Such a diplomatic answer.
I mean, I feel like as we always have had Drew Brees, there's always been a chance for us to go into the postseason. With Drew Brees at helm, you know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get 20-plus touchdowns and 5 interceptions. That's something that's a winning formula. You know, you can, you know, go for 30-plus touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Right.
It's, you know, you always know that there is a chance that at any given time, he can explode and create one of the most potent offenses in the game. And you see that week in, week out, until, let's call it this year, where you see Drew go down for what is arguably the first time since he got to New Orleans. Yep. And yet the team is, you know, in a perfect form where we're able to overcome a lot of adversity. So I feel like we're in a great window, technically, with the players that we have, with guys that we have on our team, and with Drew at helm. Now, you say, what happens with Drew out there? I'm not there for the what ifs. I'll worry about that when the time comes.
You guys played this team that's representing the NFC in the Super Bowl, in the 49ers, and you played them well, put up a lot of points. No other team this year did that. What did you see? What did you take advantage of? And then, second question, Jimmy G was pretty good in that game. What did you see out of him that you could potentially give us some insight of what we might see on Sunday?
So you talk about what they're able to do. I mean, we put up points, but at the end of the day, you know, they put up more points than us. We allowed more points to be scored than necessary. You talk about what George Kittle means to the offense. You talk about what their running back situation is, you know, their committee. They have a lot of talent over there. But they're also, as good as they are on offense, they're even better on defense. And that's what you're going to see. I mean, you know, as a defensive lineman, I'm always looking like, all right, so what's the defensive line looking at? And when you talk about, you know, the Niners, you can't help but gush as a defensive lineman as you see 4 guys take, you know, a pass rush and passer, or sometimes even like a 5th option here. You got, you know, we talk about Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckner, Solomon Thomas, D Ford, and that's just the first rounders that have been there. You draft, you know, young Bosa. So you've got 5 first rounders. That sounds great to me. You've got, you know, Richard Sherman at corner. You know, you talk about the opposite corner who probably has played beyond expectation this year. And then, of course, you talk about their linebacker core. Their defense is stacked, and I love it. And then you talk about, you know, similarly to Kansas City, they've got a great, you know, front. They've got a great front, and now you question, you know, what's the difference between Niners defense and KC's defense, and you probably say secondary, maybe? So when you talk about what's going to happen, I can't help but think about the Niners, but at the same time, it's all about who's going to have a better defensive line. And I can't answer that yet.
Well, let me ask you this, though. We've been very kind to you. I think I do. I'm your new PR guy, so I need an honest question here. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't scare a defense, though, yet. Correct?
He put up 40-something points on us, so I don't know if I have the right to talk about what he does or doesn't.
How surprising was that, though, when you had watched film?
I mean, everybody was surprised. Everybody was surprised. When you talk about exactly what we wanted to do to limit him, I feel like he had playmakers like George Kittle who showed up big time.
I'm sorry, I'm staring at your mustache. We just had Gardner Minshew on. You guys had a little mustache competition at the Pro Bowl?
No, I don't think so. No, not at all. No, he's got like a regular mustache. Like, you saw his You know, there's nothing special about it. I think Baker Mayfield did like three. Baker Mayfield did like 3 mustaches in a game.
In a game.
In a game.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
What, is this impressive?
On a loss.
Woo! Look at that.
Check you.
There's
You got
nobody
dressed
in the
in the
game
dark
that can
that
flip
day?
this thing up. Like this can flip up at any given time.
Oh, well then do that. Why didn't you do that?
Because
You should have gone with that mustache, but this outfit. That outfit.
But see, nobody wants to walk around as like a baron all the time. You know? So it's able to just flip down and look like a regular goatee.
Oh.
Hey, multifaceted.
Yes, it is. That was impressive. It looked like it was hanging off the skin a little bit.
Yeah.
I was unsure.
It's able to flip up when necessary. We turn up when we have to.
So Gardner's still here. You've got to bet. His
Does he
mustache
have a
doesn't
mustache
even.
anymore? I just saw him, right?
Wow.
He walked past me and I was like, I thought he was gonna go surfing.
What?
I was just like, no doubt. I get it. Live your best life.